Okay, ready? Okay, just feel free if you feel like, oh my god, I said something wrong, just tell me, I'm just gonna edit it. Okay, hello everyone, this is Miss Grace LEONG, and you are teaching.
Oh, hello everyone. I'm Miss Grace Leong.
Yes.
I taught Antang interdisciplinary lab and also movement 4 in NAFA.
What is interdisciplinary lab for those who might not know?
Yeah, interdisciplinary lab is
Or interlab.
Yeah, interlab is a module where we let students try out different ways of creating their own work. So we try different things like using text, using film, using the technique of voice, technique of movement to create. Yeah, basically it's a let them experiment platform to let them experiment with their future work. Maybe they are able to do their own work at the end.
Okay, and movement 4 is specifically traditional dance, which is
Kon
and Balinese.
Balinese. So
Okay. Do you teach any other traditional dance like before this?
well, Western traditional, which is classical ballet.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I
ballet is
used to-
Western traditional. I just realized.
Is I used to teach the theatre students classical ballet. So the previous batches of students, I mean the much older batches of students, our alumni now they learned ballet from me. And then as NAFA, we wanted to kind of gear towards Southeast Asia theme or Southeast Asia focus. Then we included the classical Southeast Asian movement for our students.
Okay, so the first thing that comes to my mind when I remember Miss Grace LEONG is the fact that you have taught here at NAFA for how long?
I think I started teaching in NAFA since year 2000. So some of you are not born yet, I guess.
So I have a spot for not just teachers, for everyone who's been doing whatever they're doing for more than a decade. I was like, how can you keep doing that after for so long? So my question would be, what keeps the fire lit?
I think passion is something you want to unpack. Yeah, how do you define passion? It's things that just started with like a pure liking. You like to do this very much, and then when you go through the hardship of continuing doing this, I guess that shows that you test it, and then you kind of know that you really have passion for certain things. For example, for me, it's like I have passion in teaching movement to bodies, to different bodies. Different bodies.
Very specific passion.
The movement itself, for me, that is something that I guess over the years I developed it myself in me. I also discovered it myself for the students, for the people that I taught. How we use body as an Asian body, how Asian body moves, and how Asian bodies are able to integrate, or the quality of Asian bodies I guess that has become
Asian bodies, that's very specific.
I mean we build differently from different
genetic wise, DNA wise.
Yes. So there is certain way we move. I guess that has become something I'm passionate about. But the fundamental of it is basically I'm very much passionate about how we look at human bodies and how human body moves in concerns with our emotions.
So you mentioned the word develop. So okay, this interview is about. I think I did mention to you about what kind of things that I'm actually curious on, which is balancing life between an artist and a teacher. And as I formulate my questions, turns out it's deeper than what I thought. It's more of like dream versus reality kind of thing. So you mentioned develop. So did you always want to be a teacher from the very beginning, or?
Well, when I started, I'm a dancer, so it's a very artist-based kind of thing. It's like you always dance and use your body to dance. So I guess to become an artist educator, and I mean, as in become an educator
Yes.
myself, I need to have a balance of what, I mean, you have a very good questions. Is about sustainability of this art form, right?
Yes.
It's a sustainability as this profession.
Yes.
Whether you want to be an artist, educator, or artist educator, it's a new thing now that we have this identity of artist educator. So for myself, I think many years ago, I kind of like do my own research in sustainability of
An
this artist educator, not just artist educator.
Exactly what I want to know.
So this is what I find out in my research that there are three things we need as an artist educator. So one is how you engage yourself in your own practice. That means I continue to dance, or I continue to teach people how to dance, or in that dance form, in the movement form. So I continue to do that. That is one. So with your community is one. The second thing that you need to do is your research. So with your community, you can do your research. Like
As in
teaching is one of my students are one of my community. So when I teach, my research is also able to kind of glean something out of you. It's like, oh yeah, you know, if my students my research was like at that time, if my students are mostly from Asia, they like this type of movement, or they don't like this type of movement. It works for them and doesn't work for them. So these are my research in my community. So when I find out this research, it power back to my teaching. That means the other one is the teaching. So you need to practice, teach, and research. So these three, you cannot lack one.
Teach and research. Okay.
Because if you don't do research, your practice will not grow, and then because it's a sustainable, your teaching will not grow either. So if you don't grow, you stagnant. Then it's like an ecosystem lah. You one part of it die, right? The other part slowly will die too.
Yes.
So these three, you must kind of have a balance to have this sustainability. If you only do practice, only with your only practice, right, you also will die, because you practice, and then you don't get to research, you don't get to share. Teaching is about sharing.
Yes. And
So
teaching is learning twice.
You also will like burn out, like just performing, you burn out. You can't sustain that long.
So
As an artist educator, you need to have these three to sustain. So you continue to practice. That means you move, or you create your work.
You put it into work.
Yeah. Continue to work. So as you continue to work, you must continue to have these questions about how you research your work.
Okay.
How to make my work better, or how to make myself more intuitive with the audience. This could be your research. And then once you find out that already, you find out the answer, you need to share it. So you need to teach it. If you don't teach it, you only have these two, you just research yourself growing, it will not sustain.
Wow, that's a very valuable
So
lesson.
there's some kind of a trio there that you need to balance it to be able to sustain your career as an artist educator.
Yeah, in a way, generally to me, it kind of summed up into mindset that we always have to keep growing, and we have to always keep learning, and keep always upgrading ourselves to be a better educator, to be a better artist, and there is no stopping. And that's why I want you to react to this sentence, okay? I know this sentence from Reddit, from Twitter, from my friends, from my mentor even, that art teachers are failed artists.
So these are very old school kind of thinking.
Yeah,
It's
and I was like, is it true? I mean, I learned a lot from my lectures, from my teachers, from my other lectures. Like, they're very good artists, and why would you consider them as a failed artist? That's why they teach. Because sometimes people think like, oh yeah, if they're successful enough, then they won't teach, right? They will keep creating art and sustain their career from their art and stuff. So, what's your thought on that?
I mean, I think I kind of answered that. It was an old school kind of, like, what century are you in now? Old school thinking that an artist cannot teach, or you know, the artist can only do artistic stuff, or the teacher can only teach, they cannot do artistic stuff, or something like that. But I think the way this is 21st, almost 22nd century already, it's more like we have to think of an ecosystem, a more holistic way to sustain a living, to sustain an art form, to sustain the career as an artist. Okay, I give you an example. Many years ago, right, to become a singer, you only need to know how to sing. Enough. You have a good voice, enough.
Okay.
Then later on, it kind of become when TV is on, you know, TV technology is there. You need to be able to sing, and you're able to look good as well, you know. And then now, even more, you need to be able to sing, be able to look good, need to be able to know how to deal with the media. And it is constantly evolve. This evolvement is the same for us as an artist educator. You cannot be just say, oh, I'm just teaching, I don't do any other work. Or artist, I just create, I don't do other work. You can't survive. These are the old school. Like I say, it's old school. It's not going to happen anymore. So now, I think in this century, you want to be an artist, you cannot just do art itself. You have to be able to do that research to grow, and to be able to share with the community, like a teaching. You have to teach it to other people. So then you will be able to continue to grow as an artist, as a researcher, as a psycho educator. Yeah, I don't think in this century or moving forward, an artist can only do art. They have to be able to do research, they have to be able to teach it, they have to be able to continue practice it. So this three is the main thing that kind of like evolve in the ecosystem as an artist, or as an educator, or as a researcher.
You mentioned one word, survive. Then again, coming from my curiosity about dream versus reality, what do you think is the line between fighting for your dreams and just being realistic?
I think sometimes we need to understand our dream. So if your dream is only like, okay, I'm just going to dance on stage, I'm just going to act on stage, then I'm sorry, you're not. You in this century, you can't do it. You will die off.
Okay.
And then, if you need to understand your dream, so you, in some way, okay, let's say you want to be an actor.
Okay.
Have you seen actor just act without sharing their knowledge, without having their own research, or upgrading themselves? It's not going to happen. It's no longer such an era. So, I think when you want to get into something that you're really passionate, don't look at just one facade of it. Of course, you love the facade where you perform, right?
Yeah.
But behind the performance, you need a lot of different skills to be able to sustain that passion, sustain that dream that you have.
In the way that you say it, that means you keep creating, right? Even you've been teaching for like, again, 20 years plus. And then, but you keep performing, you keep directing, right?
I keep directing. I think performance is not easy when you don't kind of train in a studio every time. I mean, as I age. Actually, sometimes I look young, right? But actually, I'm not young anymore. If I started, teaching in 2020, I'm really not young anymore. So, in some way, I kind of move beyond the performance.
From the back end?
Yeah, more like directing shows. So I still actively producing and directing shows for this region. Yeah, mostly my work is in Penang.
Okay. So I keep hearing that you keep performing in Malaysia.
Because I'm Malaysian.
Oh, you're still holding
I
Indonesian
am,
passport?
yes.
Oh, I thought. So that means you're a PR here or what?
I'm PR
Oh,
here.
okay, I understand.
I'm a
Okay,
PR
that's
here.
why. That means you can go back and forth.
Yeah, I guess. Same
Okay.
as you are. You're Indonesian. You can always go back to do
Yes,
work,
yes.
to create work.
Yes,
yeah.
yes. I want to move on from life as an artist and life as a teacher. Now, I want to get into your teaching side. I think I've never told you this, but one most memorable moment in your class was me trying to, I don't know, was it touch my toe or something?
I don't know what the heck is
and then,
touch
and
your
then
toes.
yeah, I would touch my toe like this, right? And then I couldn't reach it, and then you pushed me from the back. Oh, you know? And I was like, oh my god, yeah, okay, thank you, Miss Grace. So I want to get into the idea of tough love that you did in class. Do you watch the movie Whiplash?
No.
No. Okay. So there's this scene in Whiplash where the teacher met his former student, and then this teacher was expelled from the school because of his behavior towards his students. And he said to his former students, "You know what? I will never regret for what I did. I will never apologize. I was being harsh. I demanded my students. I pushed my students to be better, and." That's my way of doing it, and I will never apologize. Two words, there are no two words more dangerous coming from a teacher to a student is good job. Two words more dangerous than good job. There are no great artists created from love and tender. I grew up from an acting school with that exact kind of
Tough
teacher.
Asian teachers.
Yeah, Asian teacher. So my question would be, is it different now? Like how the teachers treat students, and what's the line for you to okay, I want to push my students to, I don't care what they think, I know they can do better. and there are other part of you that's like, oh, it's okay, yeah, okay, try again, you know. What's your,
I think
personally,
there's a benefit of an experienced teacher. Like after you teach for 20 over years, you have seen thousands of students, basically thousands of bodies, like different bodies, right?
Yeah.
So that benefit comes from the knowledge of you knowing these kind of bodies. Like I say, you're constantly doing the research in the community, in your students, right? So you know this kind of body can still stretch, or can how much you can push, how much you can't. So it's like an experiment throughout the years that you kind of have, and you have that knowledge as an experienced teacher. So a lot of time also is a rapport of you as an educator with your students. So these students come in, how they talk to you, how they respond to your teaching. You kind of, with that experience, you kind of know that these students trust you or not.
Oh wow.
So if these students doesn't really trust you, no point you push them, it will not get there. It will they will just and fall on the floor and hate you for life. So it's that kind of trust that come from you teaching for many years, and also the knowledge that you have for understanding certain things. For me, it's like how I understand bodies. So when I look at some certain bodies, I know that this body can be pushed further, but that person somehow has some mental block. I mean, all of us have mental block. Okay, all of us have one person, I can't do it, and then this is where, you know, as an educator, you have to push them, and you have to kind of like go ahead.
Yeah.
And
I'm always grateful that I have teachers who push me to be, who know, who see the things that I cannot see for myself. And sometimes there are students who cannot really differentiate constructive feedback and hatred. Right. I mean, you're a teacher yourself, so you would know that whenever you say something and like the students feel like, oh no, terms of I hate you, I don't like this teacher and stuff. So how do you deal with that?
Well, like I say, I have also students who I know that they don't trust me, or I don't even know whether they trust me or don't trust me. I just give them honest feedback.
Okay.
And some student like it, some student doesn't like it. So I guess as an educator, you have the responsibility to speak the truth. At what standard that person is now, whether the person can take it at that time, whether the students are able to take it at that time, is something that we need to unpack for the student themselves. It's not about, it's very objective, it's not subjective.
Yes.
So there are some students, they clearly with this syllabus they are not able to reach certain standard.
Okay.
So when you tell them they are not able to accept it, some people just need longer time. You need to unpack it. It's like some people come in here with already some training. Of course, they will get there. Very easy. Just example, cartwheel. Okay, so some of my class do cartwheel, and some students have no experience of cartwheeling. So they were like taking years just to try to get their arm, correct and stuff like that. But some already can do a few cartwheels. So every class have different ability of students, so it is depend on teachers to have that keen eye to see who are the one that you can trust, can build that rapport, and can able to push. Who are the one that need a bit more time, to need a bit more patience with them, to take a bit more time for them. And also don't discourage the students, I guess. I think the worst thing is to discourage your students, so that they completely give up on their whatever dreams that they have.
And that's quite tricky, I think. Some people are able to take that kind of can you act or not? Can you act or not? And some people need different approach. And I think the more you teach, you kind of notice like, I use different doors to different students, right?
Different methods for different students lah. I mean, that is pedagogy already. You go into teaching pedagogy. So different ways of analyzing the students, and then with the analyzing tools, then you can actually fit your method into different students. So some students you can talk like this, some students you have to talk like this, and then some students you have to email them. they don't like face to face with you. There are different ways of communicating, but I think teaching is very much into communicating with students. Because without that correct communication way, you can't build that trust. I mean, because our work is very how do I say, performing arts, right? It's a life work. We are very close with the bodies that we work with. You see, so every day you kind of like acting in front or with another person. So it's very different from the relationship that you have with visual art student. Example, the teacher is here, then the students are there on the table, and then sitting on the table drawing or something. Ours is just a body, and the body is straight away like this. So it's a different way of approaching the students with that. The trust is built more intense, I must say. So therefore, you must understand the receiving and the giving part more intensely. I will say it is important for our work.
And you're only doing it for 3 months and twice a week, right? So that's
very little time to build that rapport. It's true. But I guess when students come into school, this is a school, and in some way you already have a much higher trust towards the teachers. Rather than trust like you just go to some kind of stranger, and then the stranger asks you to stretch like this. I don't think you will want to. You just say never mind, that kind. So I guess that's the thing that we could.
I want to further unpack on what you said about objective and not subjective. It's been in my mind for so long since I study art. Is art actually teachable? Like how do you, when you create things, right? How do you differentiate you like it subjectively and you like it objectively? I don't know the kind of question, but yeah.
I wish I can.
But that's the
explain.
purpose. I do this after the results are out, guys. Results are out.
I think.
So how do you do it?
I mean, it's very obvious whether this is objective or subjective, because
Okay.
objective, you can tell who is a good actor, who is not a good actor. Can you tell? And when you watch a movie, can you tell this is a good actor, this is not a good actor?
Yeah, it's.
I mean, you can tell.
Yes. Although sometimes, most of the time, it's not describable. It's just feel. I feel it, you know. But in terms of being objective, I can't. It's really hard to pinpoint whether it's. I don't know.
It's like a
I don't know. What do
design
you
of a
think?
book. If you put two books together, and then you can kind of tell that, oh, this is a good book, this is not a good book. So you can. Okay, generally, all of us are able. Generally, we are able to tell what is good, what is bad.
Okay.
But it is in the grey area that's not so good, not so bad. You know, that kind of grey area that we have a bit more reserved in that area. Whether how good is this one, how bad is this one. So it's like your A, B, C, D, E, F grading. Yeah. So these are the things that you need as a teacher. You need to unpack a bit more for your students. You need to know the standard where you are standing. So, example, for movement class, movement 4 example, you need to be able to perform Balinese dance in this, able to sense the Balinese movement in a Balinese way.
Balinese way.
Yeah.
Okay.
So you have a video, and then you can see how much are you different from this video. So it is quite objective actually. It's just
Okay.
that it becomes subjective is because you yourself is the person who is looking at it. If you're looking at it as a third person eye, you can tell from the video. If you film yourself dancing and you film the professional, you can tell whether you are better or the better, right? It is quite I would say the result is quite objective, but it becomes subjective is because our practice is in our own self. So we are very difficult to be objective on ourself, SELF. Yeah.
Okay.
So that is something I feel.
I think it's coming from a teacher who's been teaching for so long. Like it's clear. It's objective and subjective. It's clear. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean for me it's pretty.
At least the
clear.
growth is clear.
Yes.
Yes. From the first meeting and the final thing is quite clear. Yes.
It's very clear whether that person coming from this background, and then at the end, what is it?
Yeah. I asked this question because I heard. I don't think it's from theater students. Maybe.
No, I think sometimes when people think of it as subjective, right, is the ABCD thing lah. Why he's an A and why I'm a B? You know that kind of situation. Like
I'll get into that after this. I'll get into that after this.
So that is the distinctive, a little bit different. That is the thing that is, it has some degree of subjectivity in it.
Okay. I'll get into that after this, but before that, I asked this question because I heard stories from other NAFA students saying that like, I had this lecturer who kept saying that like, I don't roughly they said it like, I don't like this, and I prefer it to be like this. I prefer it to be this way. So sometimes when I heard that story, I feel like, wow, then it becomes very subjective, and in a way I feel that whole class will be one color because of the way this lecture drive the students to a certain taste. So but there's a thing, it's not about having a good taste. I mean, what's a good taste, right?
I mean, it also depends on the subject itself, right? I mean, if it's like interlab, the creative kind of subject, right? Yeah, you can create any other things. But then if it's like ballet class or Balinese dance, right? You cannot have different way of it's the form itself is like that, right?
Okay, I
so
understand.
it depends on the subject that the teachers is teaching. I mean, students
Well,
must also
depends.
understand, right? If it's a creative kind of work or it is a skill-based kind of work. Yeah.
Okay. Okay. Lastly, before we wrap things up, you mentioned about A, B, C, D, E, F. After we talk about you as teachers, I want to talk about us students. You talk about grades, and I come to realize, I think the second year onward, I feel that there's this mindset in my peers, my friends, that I feel like, to me, I'm kind of against. That's the more you think about grades, the more you don't get good grades. This is something that I believe. And the more you don't really care about grades, turns out the more you get good grades. Because I find it a lot of times where my friends practice and then like, oh, I'm afraid that Miss Grace is not going to like it, and I'm afraid that for me, in order to get A, I have to do this. And I was like, I feel like, in a way, it feels to me that you're kind of losing the essence of learning and gaining knowledge. And because to me, the joy is, okay, I get what you mean. And like, well, let's work on that. And then like, yeah, that's what I mean, Antang. And like, that's the joy that I felt. And it's not really the A, B, because I'm not the kind of student who really, okay, I have to get it. I feel, to me, I just have to pass, that's all.
I mean, this comes from a value systems over the years. Maybe Indonesia, right, is really, I mean, maybe the background that you come from, your school is more drilling you about the joy of learning, as long as you pass, you go next. As you pass, you go next. It doesn't really matter whether you get an extreme A or you
A
pass.
plus,
Yeah, correct. So, or the society value is more like every career is a good career if you make it well. Whether you are a dancer or whether you are a financial person or you're a banker or you are a salesperson, if you make it excellent, every career is a good career.
Yeah.
So sometimes in Singapore the system is not like this. That's why Singaporean students, I generally find that they are very much grade driven.
Kiasu.
Yeah, they are very much. No, it's not about kiasu. I think it's more like there is consequences of why if they don't get that A, there is always a consequences in the society. Like they couldn't get scholarship, they couldn't do this. Their parents is disappointed, and and so forth and so forth. Okay. So I think sometimes. Over here, why some of the students are very much driven by the grade, that is because of certain value systems are not, well, it's okay to have that wanted to do motivation to do well, but not just looking at the grade. So there are students who, like yourself, you just want to learn and you wanted to do well in the things that you learn.
Yeah.
So you will find ways or to do well in it. Like you practice more, you will practice with all these different gadgets. You film yourself and then you do again and stuff like that. You have different ways of learning, but then. Some students, if they are very panicking, like if I cannot get A, I couldn't get that scholarship, or I couldn't get this, so then it kind of, you're right, it's hinder them from the joy of really learning this art form itself. Yeah. Well, arts is about life lah. So if you don't have passion in life, you don't have passion in arts.
Whoa, that's a big word, guys.
Seriously,
passion of, oh my god.
If you don't have that passion about life, like you generally hate your life. Example is like, oh, what am I living for? You know, I probably not going to be anybody, and then like you don't like your life. I don't think you will like the arts.
Wow, that's very good.
You know, arts is about, you look at life as in like, yeah, it's difficult, but it's challenging, but I want to achieve something, you know, then you have that drive. And then if you have that, you'll look at art also in this way. It's like, yeah. So if the way you look at life and the way you look at art is basically they are interconnected. They influence each other.
That's wisdom right there. I totally agree. Because I sometimes pity them. Like after the results are out, like, oh my god, I get C, and like sometimes it keeps going on for 2-3 days.
Even though we told them many times, C means good, they cannot accept one. The Singaporean cannot accept C as good, because our syllabus here is based on this. If you do everything we kind of do in your syllabus, right, you get a C, which is good. If you want to be B, a very good, right? Then you do something extra, like, you know, you will do something extra, and we will see that, wow, you know, you have something more than what we ask you to, and then you do more, and therefore your form, the form that you practice is much better. And then you want to get an A, it's excellent. It's like beyond just what we ask you. You actually do more than that. Wow, you film yourself, and then you investigate why this is not working, and then you do research, you read up the book, and then you see some film that people do it so well. You have more extra stuff to investigate into improving yourself. So that is an A.
Yeah, and that's.
But not everybody comes in is doing that, right? I mean, if you do extra work, of course you get A. For me, it's very, like I say, it's not subjective, it's very objective.
Going back again.
Yeah, going back, it's objective, you know. You have to see, the people who get A, usually they practice a lot. Different ways, you know. They film themselves lah, they practice in the studio by themselves lah. They ask another peer to look at them lah, and then give them feedback lah. They do a lot of things, one, you know.
That's the joy.
Yeah, correct. I mean, I'm pretty sure you are A student. So the thing is, those like C and D students, they don't understand. They ask me. I have students also ask me, teacher, how can I become an A? Then I told them already, but yet they don't do it. Then if they don't do it, I mean, and that's how can I? Why do you think this is subjective? This is not subjective, it's objective, you know.
And I think that's why sometimes you're asking different questions. You're asking like how to get A, not how to improve myself. You know, and I think that's the kind of different mindset that we already.
The mindset, the value are different.
Yeah.
No, to me it's also okay. Same, never mind. Even you want to improve, want to become an A or whatever.
Do more.
We can do. You do this, you do more of this. You go and peer review with yourself, and then come back, and then you just have to do more work.
Okay.
More practice.
Yeah.
It's not rocket science.
Yeah. I used to believe in talents. I used to, and then I keep seeing people who are talented and don't work hard, and people who are talented and work hard, and people who are not talented and work hard. And
there are 4 genres. You should have 4. Talented, don't work hard. Talented, work hard. Not talented, work hard. Not talented, not work hard. That one gone case number 4 genre. I don't want to. Yeah, this one shouldn't be coming in. Yeah. So mainly we have three types of students, right? Yeah.
Okay.
Good. You good observation. You can be a good teacher. You know, sometimes those that talented and work hard one, you know where to push. This one you can push. You can tell them tell them to do, and then they will do. The talented but lazy one, this one must a bit, you know, like you must scold them a bit, tell them that you don't waste your talent like this. It's unfair and God punish you.
It's unfair. Oh my God! Do you know how much people want to get your talent?
Yeah, and there are
But yeah,
some that is less talented, but they are very hardworking. Now these are usually these are the one that the teacher always take care of. Like they want the teachers will always wanted to help them to see what other thing they could improve themselves in that. Yeah,
I think that's the joy that you're having whenever you see people who like
those
grow.
talented and good one, right? Very easy. You don't need to pay more attention to them. You just tell them, okay, go. Then they will go and do it themselves. Then those that no talent, but they are so hardworking. You want to help them. You spend quite a lot of time as a teacher to like find resources for them, and then try to see. You see this one, you go and read about this, and then you go and see this video, and then you move like that. So I guess that's the joy of teaching. Also, like you can help those that deserve to be helped.
You see how can Miss Grace sustain 20 years of teaching? Because I think that's the joy that you find.
There's always a joy in teaching.
Okay.
But there's more joy in creating. Creating is much more fun.
Creating is much more fun?
Yeah.
Okay. Oh, that being said, okay, this final question before I wrap this up again.
Wow, too long already lah.
I promise one more. That being said, I guess you said this. Would you leave if you had an offer to do something that you always wanted to do? Would you leave teaching?
The thing that's going to offer me must have these three things in.
Okay.
Must have the research part that I would like to, must have that creating part that I would like to, and the teaching part where I like to. So these three must come, the work must offer me these three outlets.
Okay.
Then it's sustainable.
Okay. Then it's sustainable.
Yeah. Then I will leave.
Wow. Okay, you stay here first. This is something that I want to give you. This I know that you already have a lot of this, so please.
What is this?
You can open it and check.
Thank you so much. Oh, it's a scarf.
It's a scarf, yes.
Oh, this printing is from. This printing is.
That's the thing.
Yeah,
you see, Miss Grace is already asking me what motive is.
Yeah,
so my parents.
What it is,
I already. Oh my God. Where do I put my face? Because I already asked I asked my parents to bring from Indonesia.
Yes.
So and I asked what batik is this? Oh, I don't know. So oh my God, Miss Grace is going to ask me what kind of batik is this? I'm not gonna know. Just for context, there are a lot of batik in Indonesia.
Yeah.
Like as in types of motifs of batik.
Yes.
Yes.
Oh,
so,
thank you so much.
Yeah, it's for you.
So precious.
Again, like I already told my previous interviewee that a teacher might forget their students, but students will never forget their teachers.
Oh, that's so sweet. Talking about teachers, my dance teacher is here in Singapore, so I'm probably going to see her later tonight.
We will never forget our teachers.
Ah, that's so sweet of you.
Okay, thank you for your time.
Thank you.
This is very Asian thing to do. Thank you for your time, and hope to see you again.
In the future, okay? Good career, and then come back and see us. Yes.
Okay. Will do. Thank you. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.